Hi, I'm
Hi,
Susie
Chrissy.
Moore. This is
Hello,
Susie
West
Moore.
Coast, East Coast. I
So exciting.
know, our
Oh, this
first
is
collab.
awesome. This is our first blab. We're just testing it out to see what
Yep.
it's like.
hmm
Hopefully some people will join.
Yep.
If not, it's recorded and you guys can watch on the recording, which is great.
Perfect.
And we can share it with people. So I'm Christine Pereira from Soulful Selling Bootcamp, and I'm here with Susie Moore. Susie, do you want to give a little background?
Yes, I am a life coach based here in New York and a writer, and I release weekly wellness tips on my site, susie-moore.com. And prior to going into business on my own, I was in corporate sales for over 10 years.
Yes, we actually work together.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So cool. So I wanted to do a little interview with you about soulful selling. And as you know, soulful selling is really like authentic selling. And I think you're a great representation of that. So I'm trying to do a series of interviews with soulful sellers. So give me the background on sales. Like, how did you first get into sales?
I got into sales. I think I didn't even really, you start out in your career and you're not really sure what you want to do, so you kind of just take any entry-level job. I took an entry-level job, which was in administration, and you know how that often starts, right? You kind of, of course, have to get a foot in somewhere. And I did that in my first job, and I really didn't like the admin side of things. And I was constantly observing the sales team and looking at them and wanting to be part of what they were doing because it seemed so fast moving, so exciting. And I naturally kind of gravitated towards them, wanted to help them out, got involved in kind of sales duties that weren't really my responsibility. And then I ended up actually getting fired from that admin job. And when I went to speak to the recruiter who placed me, I explained to her, I said, I don't think I'm really cut out for the support stuff. I really want to be a salesperson. And she actually offered me a role as a junior consultant at her firm.
Oh, just for sell for her. So she obviously saw your talent very early.
Yeah. I think she saw that, when you often meet a salesperson, they're outgoing, they want to kind of, get results. And yes, she gave me an opportunity when I was really young, and I'll always be grateful for that because that set me on my path.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Oh, that's so interesting. And so what did you learn from that first job? Like, did you get sales training, or like, how did you figure out how to sell?
Yes, I'm actually a really big fan of sales. Yeah, I think I'm a really, really big fan of sales training, and I have had a bit in my life, and I think it's important to invest in that with your staff. But most training is really on the job. Life and career is on the job training, right? Nothing really beats being in the field, doing it yourself, and going out there. I had a little bit here and there, but I was just pretty much instructed to kind of go and do my thing once I understood what was really necessary. And that was the best training ground for me. In fact, a lot of the salespeople who I know, who I think are brilliant, they started like door-to-door sales, for example.
Oh, wow.
Really, really tough. And recruitment's really tough. It's really competitive, really, really high fees. So starting out there, I think everything from there seemed easier.
Yeah. And was it hard? Like, do you remember, like, I remember my first week of sales and how hard it was. And I was clueless. I was like practicing my pitch in the bathroom. I was I was nervous. I think I was more nervous with the other salespeople listening to me than I was about calling people. Like, do you remember your first week and like how that was?
Yeah, completely. I felt the same way. I was really kind of intimidated by the people I worked with, and I didn't want them to judge me or think that I was bad or not very good at it. So I kind of like to do things quietly, but I did know at the very beginning, the one thing that I understood was that it was down to me. Like, it was going to be up to me to succeed. And I just kind of kept going, and I had like no business. I wasn't really working on anything existing. And, in the defense of the company I worked for, they didn't really give me a big quota or anything. They wanted me to just kind of get started and see if it worked out, if it would work out. And it did, because I just started, just got going.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And it gets easier, right? It's like that first week is so hard, and then it gets easier once you practice.
Yeah, it's like anything, right?
Start, right? You just have to start.
You just have to start. And that's the thing, like, you just need to get one client, right? And then close one deal. And then you do it again, then you do it again, you do it again, then you're selling, right? And then you're experienced and you're making money. So that's great.
I mean, yeah, it's like with so many things, like Periscope. I just started doing these Periscopes, and this is our first class. So like, let's just do it. Let's just try it and see how it goes.
Yeah, just do it. That's what you have to do. It's just a matter of getting started, not overthinking, just taking action.
I agree, not overthinking it, because you could think of a million excuses. You could practice a million times, and you're never going to know what the person that you're calling or that you're talking to says. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting. I mean, a friend of mine's a real estate agent, and she was practicing her pitch with her. They work in teams. And one day the owner was walking by and he's like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "We're practicing our pitch." She's like, "Just get out there and practice." Like you can prepare so much.
Oh, true. You can over prepare. Yeah, and overthink it.
Yeah. So you just gotta do it. Like nothing replaces action.
That is probably like the one thing that defines people who become salespeople, right? It's like they're just willing to wing it or just try it and like see what happens. And I think that's something like a lot of people are scared of. But it's like, why are you scared? Like once you do it, you're fine.
Yeah, and Christine, like this is something that I often like to joke about, because the selling never stops, right? Selling never stops, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing. Everyone's selling something all the time. Even mothers are selling to their children, right? It's like, eat your vegetables, or teachers are selling to their kids' parents and to the children themselves. I mean, whatever job you have, you're selling something. And
everyone needs sales. Yeah.
I applied to, because I write for different publications, I applied to write for a site I've never written for, and I got rejected. I just got rejection, and I'm like, I'm going to try again tomorrow, and then next week, and then a rejection doesn't really mean anything after a while. Right. You just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember a lot of, in my early sales jobs, a lot of people would ask me like, well, are you financially motivated? And it seemed like a lot of people thought like, you have to have this like big financial motivation. I think that's why they like young salespeople. But it's interesting because I was never really super motivated by money. I was more motivated by the success, but not necessarily the money. Like, what do you think? Like what mode? And I think maybe that was like a very male focused perspective. Or what do you think you have to be money motivated to be successful?
I'm with you. I was always really, uplifted and elated by the wins and the praise and the success, and the money was a really nice accompaniment to those things. But I never really would kind of calculate commission ahead of time or what this would be worth to me. And I think we're all money motivated to a point.
Oh yeah.
But if that's your number one kind of criteria, I don't know, maybe it works for some people, but it hasn't really been mine.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like a distraction. Like you want to do what's best for your clients and be successful. But I mean, you don't want, like, I would never, I don't think I was ever like the number one top salesperson, but I was like in the top, 5 or in the top, whatever, 1%. And I think some of those people were so money motivated that sometimes it distracted them from like really serving their clients and
sometimes like the money comes later, right? You can focus on like a short-term win, sure, and you always want to do that month to month, but sometimes the bigger wins take time, and if you're so focused on money in the moment, maybe you kind of lose sight of really what the value is longer term and the things that convert later, even when you don't expect it.
Yeah. So tell me about your selling style, because what I really learned, especially in sales management, is that everyone has a sales style, and it's fine. Yeah. You can be totally different. And I think our styles are different. And you were telling me about a cool test you took too.
Yes.
Which
there's a test. I'll send the link so we can post it. I found out that my personality type is called a doing socializer, which is very me because I am a big doer in generally. I don't overthink too much. And I love people. Right. So I like being around people. I'm extroverted. I get fueled by the energy of a group, and I like to do business socially. So I'd often do things over lunches or coffees or just, kind of casually. And I think that that's kind of when people let their barriers down a bit, and you can kind of have a real conversation and get real information. So I would say that my sales style is kind of laid back and, relaxed. I don't like to pitch hard. I like to just have a conversation, figure out if there's a fit. And I would say that, consultative but casual, and just and really just consistent. So I don't have a deal move on. I like to kind of build relationships over time. And I think that you never really know where a relationship can take you outside of even the job that you're in or the career that you're in, the field. A lot of clients I had in advertising are now working with me in a completely different capacity now. So that's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I feel like your personality is what a lot of people feel like a salesperson has to be, like very extroverted, have a lot of energy. Like I'm the opposite, right? I'm pretty introverted, although I feel comfortable talking to people, but I take more like an education stance. Like I can educate you. Like I'm not gonna go, I can do like the crowd things, but it's not my favorite thing to do. So it's interesting that, because I think different sales styles can both be successful. And I think a lot of people think, I have to be this total extrovert and I have to be the person who remembers everyone's name and like does everything. And you don't have to do that for sales. You can be successful taking a different approach.
I totally agree with you. Actually, one of the best sellers who I've met was in my last corporate job. She sat opposite me. And in the beginning, I didn't even think she liked me because she kind of didn't really want to talk. And she's kind of always very focused and quite serious. And I was like, I'll probably get to know her over time. But she had a very kind of focused, determined, quiet style. And her numbers were killer. So,
yeah, I worked with someone like that too. And he was all about like the follow-up. He was so good at following up and like had his like Salesforce, like, kind of like the list of all the people he wanted to call that day, and he just like powered through it really quick. He was like amazing, but he was like the guy who always wanted to wear a t-shirt and flip-flops in the office. So he's like, I don't do external meetings. I just follow up by the phone and email. But he was super successful. He always hit his numbers. He was great.
So really, I think there are no barriers. You don't have to be a certain way. I mean,
right.
There are so many different styles. I think that it's just sticking at it that works, and owning your style.
I totally agree. That's what I think is the key. I think people are worried about being too salesy, and because they try to be a style that they're not. Like if I go out and try to be like this chit-chatty person, like people think it's kind of, it wouldn't work for me because it just doesn't seem natural. It's not natural. So yeah, I think you have to own your style and know what it is and be okay with it, right?
Yes, and you often see this like with junior sellers too. They'll copy their manager, right? Which is also a great thing to do.
So true, yeah.
Because you have to start somewhere, and naturally you're going to emulate who you're around, your superiors. And I think that over time you kind of get to know your own and you become more comfortable with it because you can't sustain something over time that isn't real, right? So I think it's great to learn from other people, but then just kind of allow yourself to be yourself because, we all have a radar. We know if someone's being real, if someone's being authentic, and that really matters. We want to be themselves because then we can be ourselves. And yeah.
I agree. Yeah. So I love your Master the Ask series where you talk about kind of asking for a raise, and you talk a lot about confidence too. So what makes you confidence is like one of the keys, right? It's kind of like the foundation to being successful, having confidence in yourself. How do you do you have tips for building confidence, or how do you get confident about selling?
Yeah, this is my favorite subject, actually, confidence, because I think it underpins everything. Sales, of course, relationships, how you just feel about yourself and how you conduct your life. Like, it's such a critical skill, and it's something that you can learn. And I think that a lot of people don't know that. I think there are people who are born confident, people who aren't, and they're like, I'm not one of those people. It's such a practice. It's such a practice for me every day. I have to always kind of do my own. I have a pep talk that I tell myself if I'm about to do something new or big and exciting. I have affirmations that I use. I'm always consuming inspirational material. It's like I wish people practice their confidence the way that they practice working out, or the way that they it has to. Motivation doesn't last. So you have to keep doing it like regularly. And I'm always listening to podcasts, always listening to books. I really manage my own self-talk. I really watch the thoughts that I'm having. I observe them. I correct them if I'm not feeling good. Because your feelings are a reflection of your thoughts. If you're not feeling good, you need to kind of work on the thinking. And it's a constant work in progress for me. And I'm getting better all the time because when you continue to work on it, it does get easier.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. Like, the fact that you work on it all the time, and I think people would describe you as extremely confident. I mean, you teach confidence to people. So, it's, that's great to hear that that's something you are constantly working on, because me too. I mean, and I definitely have ups and downs where I feel really confident about something and then I'm like, oh, I don't know. And it's just, it's managing that and just constantly practicing it. I love that.
Yeah, especially in sales, because you get a lot of rejection, you get a lot of disappointments, you get knocked back. And so you really have to stay on, it and just say, okay, well, that's disappointing. It's a setback. On to the next.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah. And I think you have to disconnect and say, like, when I'm selling, it's not me they're buying. If they reject the sale, it's not like a personal rejection, right? Because I think that's what's scary. People are like, oh God, I got, like it's all about me. Like, no, you're selling like a product or even a service. Even if you're selling yourself or coaching services, like it's still not a personal rejection, right? And that's where I think you have to have some level of confidence to go in that and make sure you separate that and realize, like, it's not a personal rejection when someone doesn't buy my product or my service.
Yeah, and actually one of the best things I think I got out of one of my sales trainings that I attended was, when someone says no, it just means often not right now, right? So it's like not right. Yeah, so it's like maybe they need something this week, but next week might be different, or maybe they're not in a good mood that day. Maybe they'll focus on something. So there are so many factors. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a statistic that I love.
Yes. Yeah. Share.
I was reading about. I love this book, by the way, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. He said there was a study done at Notre Dame University, and the statistic was that 44% of all salespeople quit trying to sell to a prospect after the first call.
Mm-hmm.
After the second call, 14 after the third, and then 12 quit trying to sell to the prospect after the fourth call. Which means that 94% of all salespeople quit by the fourth call, but of all sales made, they take place after the fourth. 60% of all sales are made after the fourth call.
Amazing. And that, yeah, I always say that's the biggest mistake people make in sales, and it's so easy to fix. It's just following up, right?
Following up, yeah, it's so underrated. I think it's not sexy following up, right? It's like,
and it seems so easy, and you're like, oh, like I follow up, but people forget it's not like following up like next week. It's following up in 6 months or in a year, because unless someone's flat out like, I'm never buying your product or service, like, please don't ever call me again, then I mean, they are a potential customer, right?
Yes. And you know, I mean, this is on the extreme side. I have to hand it to him. My husband and I wanted to speak to an attorney about like creating a will, which is what you kind of do in your 30s. And he has followed me up for 1 year. Like 1 year, he's been calling me. Yeah. And we finally are about to book, because he's like reminding me, but 12 months? He said to me, this is my last phone call. It's been a year. Unless you want to move forward, I'll get ready to file. I'm like,
oh, see, use a little incentive there. So that reminds me. So that's like, I love seeing like people like that. I love people who have a great sales style. And I, as a salesperson, I always am like, everyone I look at who's like selling me something, I always observe the way they react. Like, I signed up for some kind of software, and the guy kept calling me, and I was like, look, the best way to reach me is email. And then he would send me these emails that like, he didn't ask me any questions. He was just like, hey, you said to email you. And I was like, oh, come on. Like, that's terrible. So what do you, but then I see great salespeople. Like, there's this one girl at the farmer's market who sells, it's like this prepackaged food, and they're always giving out samples, but she's like got so much energy, and she loves the product. So she's like, oh, you have to try this. You have to try this one. And I'm like, God, that girl, she's a great salesperson. Do you do that? Do you like notice all like different people in the way they sell?
I really, really do. And I think this goes back to the thing, right, where everyone's selling something. Actually, there's a great book that I love written by Daniel Pink. I don't know if you know it. It's called To Sell is Human. And,
yeah, so true.
And he says that 1 in 9 Americans have a sales, they have the word sales in their title, but he's like 9 out of 9 are selling, right? So your lady at the market, the attorney calling me, you wouldn't think an attorney's a salesperson necessarily, would you? Right. But I do love observing different people's sales styles. And I think that if you believe in your work, sales comes a little easier, right? If you don't have to think that what you're selling is necessarily the most important thing in the world, but you believe in it, right? She clearly believes in the product that she's selling, and if you believe in your coaching or your teaching or, whatever it is that you're offering, then that makes sales that much easier, because if you like your product, you're like talking about it. So that's important to kind of invest in something that matters to you.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think waiters so many times are great salespeople. And that's like kind of an easier thing to sell, right? Because there's always something good on the menu that's like your favorite. And then there's something that might not be your favorite, and you can like lead them. But I'm like, God, these like waiters are great. You know, like if you have a good waiter who's really knowledgeable about the food, and they're like, oh, I really like this wine with that. It's so great to hear that. And I love like listening to them and like their knowledge about the food, because they're usually, food is kind of easy, right? Because it's easy to like love good food. But I love watching them. I was like, that's like perfect sales practice. Go to like a restaurant and go like, or go to like a restaurant every day and like observe like the waiters, because they're such great salespeople. Or sometimes you see, ones who don't work as hard. But that's good observation too.
Oh, it's all information. I consider like almost everything feedback in life, right? Everything's kind of interesting to just observe. And the waiters in New York, some of them are so good. It's like, oh, I want to hire you.
Yeah, like New Yorkers, like all the New Yorkers are, especially like the street vendors are great salespeople, right? Like,
I completely agree.
They know their market and they know how to sell it. Yeah. That's a great place to go to just observe great salespeople on the street.
Yeah, because it's happening all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So if there was someone who's just starting out to sales and you wanted to give them some advice, like what would you tell them?
I would say, and this is okay because this is positive too, to expect some disappointments. Because I know when I was starting out and I was like all bright-eyed and ready to go, Someone said that to me, and I think that if he didn't, I probably would have been disappointed all the time and maybe thought I wasn't good at it. So there's always going to be, you know, people who don't convert, people who don't want to buy a product, people who don't want to take your call. That goes without saying. So I think so. Just have that knowledge, right? Don't let it stop you, but just you be aware of it. So disappointments are okay. But I would just say get busy and keep going. Like there's an old saying I like that a big shot is just a little shot that kept shooting, right? So it's like keep going, you know. And I've seen this is it sometimes makes me a bit sad. Like I see people, you know, as a coach who come to me and they want to do something, whatever it is, and there's always this element of selling, right? Whether it's sharing their content online or pitching competitors or pitching anyone, and they give up right around at the time when people normally break through. You know, they're like literally at the plus. If they just kept going for like 2 or 3 more months doing what they're doing, you know there'd be momentum. Like, you know, it starts to pick up. People give up far too quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of it too with sales is realistic expectations. What I notice is that a lot of people don't understand, like, hey, you're not going to make a sale to every person you talk to. Like, you might make a sale like to 1 in 10 people, and that would be a great like conversion rate, right? But people are like, oh, I talked to 10 people and like, you know, nobody wanted my product. I'm like, oh my God, like if you even got 1 person, that would be considered really successful in a lot of sales organizations.
Yeah, and this is why I did with my recruitment training, because it's so difficult to convert someone. I mean, it was like 100 cold calls a day. Lucky if you got 2 meetings. Right? So, and I love talking about that statistic because that's real. It's not like you win 1, you lose 1. No, it's not 1 for 1. It's like 100 with 2 things. But without that 100, you don't know. So I think but look, that's, you know, one side of selling, which is, you know, it's an extreme sales role. But other kind of, you know, selling is different. But that really kind of set me up to handle disappointments and handle some rejection and still be okay in keep.
Right. Yeah. And most stats show you need to have 4 to 6 like quality interactions with someone to close a sale, right? So you can't just talk to someone 1 time or even 2 times. Like you need to, I mean, it depends on your product, right? If you have like a really easy, if you're selling candy door to door, it's going to be pretty quick, but like you need time to build trust with someone and to explain your product to them. So it's not something that happens right away. It takes time. And you say that realistic expectations. You know, I always say, like, I've had a lot of different sales jobs, and it's always that first 6 months, right? You're like pounding away, and you're calling, and you're building up that list, so that the second half of the year is going to be a lot easier, right?
But you know, around that point, some people start giving up. They're like, I don't like this company. I don't like this product. It's not selling. And it's like, it is. It's close. Just keep going. Like, just trust. And you know, I would say in recruitment, it takes 18 months to get to a good kind of steady flow activity. Right. And that's when people give up. They give up around 14 months, 16 months.
Yep.
When they close.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why a lot of sales organizations will have requirements. Like at AOL, I think we had to have like, and this was even with current and prospective clients, it was, sorry, there's a squirrel in my tree. We had to have 7 in-person meetings a week, right? Because they knew the value of the in-person meeting was so valuable. Yeah. And, you know, and then I think it was like 15 total calls a week or something. And that's like, you know, imagine like 7 meetings where you're either having a lunch or going to meet someone. Like, it's not that easy. You have to work at that. And we would always have to come up with excuses like, hey, I'd love to bring you out to coffee and tell you about like this new research report, or we'd love to talk and review your business. You know, it was like we always had to come up with a reason to meet someone, because we also wanted to be respectful of their time. You know, and provide value. Like, you don't want to call someone and say, hey, I just want to, you know, bring you out to coffee and like hang out some people want to do that, but usually a lot of people are pretty busy. So
and after some time you get to that point, right, when you have clients that you've worked with for a while, and that's awesome. But it does take time, and patience is important. And patience isn't something that comes naturally to me. So it's something that I've really kind of to learn. Actually, I love what Warren Buffett said. Warren Buffett said, even if you got 10 women pregnant, it takes 9 months to make a baby. Right? So it takes time. It really does take time. And I love what you said about the face-to-face meeting. I think that's underestimated in this day and age too, with everything's now. In fact, as a freelancer for lots of different kind of publications like Cast and Timing, I'm the only freelancer I know as a writer who meets their editor. Who actually,
Oh, really?
yeah, and even when I connect with my editors, they're like, "Oh, it's so nice to see someone like IRL in real life," right? Because nothing ever happens. Like, no face-to-face meetings ever happen, and it really solidifies a relationship. You feel as if you can be much more open about your ideas once you've met someone, and you kind of get their vibe. It's like, do they want to?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
And you think that as a writer, meeting with an editor, that's not a sales job, but it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally.
And you get a feel for whether or not, I have one editor who says, pitch me something every day. I'm open every day. And one who says, only give me ideas specifically around this if you can provide backup and research around the topic, right? But that only happens face to face. Otherwise, I'd be emailing blankly and probably not getting responses because I'm not doing what they want. So the real information comes face to face, I find.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a viewer. So feel free to ask us questions. We can do Q&A. We are talking today about soulful selling, sales styles, confidence, authenticity in sales, and basic sales training tips for a lot of people who are not super knowledgeable about selling. So feel free to ask us questions.
This is our first blab.
Yes, it's our first blab. We were trying to do it on Periscope, but Periscope is not really set up to do interviews, and it's kind of like you have to hold your phone in front of like another device. And Blab is great because you can use your computer. It's a little easier.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a great platform.
It is. Okay, so we're happy to answer questions. Susie, what do you see on your screen? Do you see like other people?
I see you and I see an open seat. But I think this is our first Blab. We have to do a few more.
I'm curious what other people are seeing.
Yeah. I see a split kind of between you and I.
Ask question. Okay, I'm typing in the comments.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that too. I like this one.
Yeah, it says 3 viewers, but I can't see who the other people are. Maybe I think the person left because before it showed them.
Okay, that's fine.
So it's just so interesting. Okay, so we are recording this. Again, this is Christine Pereira from Soulful Selling Bootcamp with Susie Moore. Susie, what's your website or how can people find you?
It's susie-more.com. You can see my blog and videos and some cool celebrity interviews on my site too.
Oh, yeah. I love those interviews. So any last wisdom? I mean, this is great because this is being recorded so we can share this and people can watch the replay later. So that's fantastic. But any last minute wisdom you want to impart about your sales style or soulful selling?
I would say there are 2 books that you must read. The first is the age-old, brilliant, still best-selling book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Excellent book just for your life, not just for selling. And this book, Jeffrey Gatoma, The Little Red Book of Selling.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one.
This is great. And I even recommend following him on Twitter. He's great. He kind of always gives lots of tips. And look, I've got my fully highlighted little book.
Oh, nice.
And there's one thing that I love in this book, which is a great sales tip, which we can end with. Whenever you want to sell to anyone, or even if you want to be deployed, which is also a form of selling and selling of self as an employee, you want to, and that's why actually there's a ladder in this on the cover. He always says go on top as high as you can on the ladder, so the most senior person you can speak to, the most senior person you can access, because it's easier to go down the ladder than to go up the ladder. Always.
Yeah, that's a great tip. That's like a more advanced selling tip, but that is so true. If you have a relationship with the CEO, call the CEO before you call, the receptionist.
Yeah, and even if you want to sell a product to the HR manager, if it's payroll software, start with the CEO still, because if he tells the HR manager to speak with you, she'll speak with you, or he will speak with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I agree. Going the other way is really tough.
Yes, the other way is tough.
Well, cool. Thank you so much, Susie Moore. Thank you for this interview, and this is all recorded so people can view it later. And wonderful. Again, this is Christine Pereira at Soulful Selling Bootcamp. You can find us on Facebook and susie-more.com.
Wonderful. Thanks, Christine.
Okay. Thank you, guys.